What's up, folks? It's another episode of the Daily Prophetcast. Once again, I am your host, and this is my co-host, Amaru Moses. And we are here to talk to you about the latest in the world of Harry Potter, have some fun debates, and maybe later on as the show goes on, have like little drafts and games and things like that. We'll see. It's all a journey, and we're on it together. But once again, I am Matt, that is Amaru, and we are the hosts of the Daily Prophetcast. This is a Harry Potter podcast. However, we do not agree with J.K. Rowling. So if you want to go ahead and hit our Streamlabs or even the link in the bio and donate to us or A4TE, where that's where any donation stuff will go, which is Advocates for Trans Equality, go ahead and do that. And yeah, just putting all that out there up front. But Rue, how are you doing, my friend?
I just laughed, even though we've done this one before, that you said the Daily Prophetcast, and we do this once a fucking month.
I know.
Very, very frequently. We are not daily.
Not daily. Not whatsoever.
Okay. I'm doing all right. I have a pretty fun weekend ahead of me. But glad to do this before I head out of town.
Yeah, I'm going out of town for a one-day trip. And funny enough, it's for something Harry Potter related. I'm going to see Cursed Child tomorrow. Driving down, the national tour started, and it's down in Columbus, Ohio. So driving 2 hours south with my buddy Brian. And last night we scored orchestra tickets for like $100. So it was like, yeah, we'll do that, because like all the way in the back was like 80, and it's like 80 for all the way in the back, or orchestra level for 100. What you gonna do?
Not bad. You tell me how it is. I'm not going to that.
Listen, I've never completed reading the script, so like the interest has always just been there, and I've heard even if you don't like the show itself, it's still a spectacle to watch. So, because I know you're not a big Cursed Child person, correct?
I am actually the opposite. I'm one of the few people who enjoyed reading the book and wasn't like too huge of a like detractor from it. I understand when people explain to me why they don't like it, and I just remember when I read it, I was like, that was fun. I'm good with this.
Yeah. Or is it that you don't want to sit through a 3.5 hour play?
It's not that either. I can do that. I'm not a play person. It's not something I go out of my way to go do, even with Harry Potter. So it's like somebody gets me tickets and like I'm there.
Here's the thing. What if it showed up to Charlotte and it's just like Masa was like, hey, do you want to go?
Well, that's never going to happen, for one. Secondly, again, if it's in Charlotte, I'm probably not going to go out my way to buy it. But if somebody got me a ticket, yeah, I would definitely go. Or if there was, for some reason, I could like take my kids on a field trip, students, not children. I don't have any of those. Kids on a field trip, then yes, I would gladly go. I would be happy to go.
Rue is a proud member of the FDK club.
Very much so. All day, every day.
But no. So before we get into the Harry Potter stuff, because I'm cheating it a bit today. I did not make graphics or anything, so I'm just using the Twitter page I follow that drops a lot of this stuff. Today's episode, the main topic, which Rue and I will discuss or debate later, depending on where we both stand on this, is was David Yates bad for the franchise overall? So that'll be a fun topic we discuss. Let him mentally prepare for that, even though he's known that this is going to be the episode for a bit. But yeah, I mean, I know that's a divisive subject when it comes to the man. So hey, we'll see. But yeah, let's get started on this Harry Potter movie news. Or not movie news. Jesus, I gotta zoom in on this Twitter page. Because my goodness, and I gotta close my. Gotta pull a Winston here because.
We went live and the man is not prepared, and he was.
No, I already had it. I had it pulled.
Kidding.
So the past few weeks, the show's been all over the UK and England. They've shot some scenes in Cornwall, which was proven to be the Dursleys clearly getting on the fishing boat. You can see some of the pictures here. You got Vernon Dursley with the gun package, seemingly holding a guy, and Petunia and the Harry stand-in because Dominic Monaghan wasn't on set that day. So God, that kid has some British teeth. And then you got Dudley right there. But the big thing that happened over the last few weeks, which happened, I think, like a day or two after Rue and I went live, was our first look. Wait, that's further up. What am I saying? Was our first look at Albus Dumbledore. There we go. Look at that man. John Lithgow and all his Dumbledore glory. Rue, I gotta ask you, my friend, how you feeling about Dumbledore?
I have to wait and see the movement and the accent and the warmth. I know John Lithgow has warmth because I also know he has sinister. Like he's one of my favorite villains from Dexter. Like the man is amazing. So I know he can go. He can have a little bit of the playfulness and again the word escaping my mouth, the word where you're like you're a good person but you do evil stuff just to make fun of people and mischievous. He's very mischievous. There you go. Thank you. That happens all the time. He has that in him. I will say he does harken back to I want to call him George Harris. George Harris is a black man. That's Richard Harris. Thank you. George Harris is Kingsley. Anyway, yeah, he harkens back to Richard Harris. And then I like the longer beard. And what I'm going to say about him, and also when you sent me the pictures of Vernon, what I think is very necessary is you need to make it as fresh as possible while still reminiscent. And I think that works very well with John Lithgow. He reminds you of Richard Harris, but he does not look like Gambon or Harris like you would say, oh, that's the same guy. No, it is completely his. And this new version of Vernon Dursley, also not as big, more like still big, but a little bit more fit.
Later on in the books, Dudley is described as kind of athletic. He looks like a big, where you could tell he used to have an athletic build for Vernon. You know what I mean?
But now he's older and he's gone past that prime, so he's at work and he's always angry. I like that look and I like the 80s jacket and stuff. So I like both of those pictures being, again, reminiscent of what you remember, but looks fresh and new. So I was like, oh, that's cool looking.
I do appreciate that they are being like, no, we're actually confirming this is taking place in the early to mid 90s, so get over it. It's like, all right, cool. That's one way to keep yourself separated from the original, which essentially,
you're right.
Because essentially the original is just like, hey, we're not going to confirm what time period we're in, but there is definitely some newer marketing and clothing options when it came to Muggle clothes.
I have no idea whether you'll get this reference, but it looks like Vernon has a cross colors jacket on.
Yes, it does.
That made me very happy.
All right, we actually got more of Dumbledore, but this time he's not alone, as he is spotted with Nicholas Flamel and his wife Perenelle. And there is a well-known French character actor who's playing Nicholas Flamel. I'm trying to.
As you're looking for it,
right
this
there.
is the stuff. This is the
Van Bear Wilson.
That's the Merovingian from the Matrix.
Yep.
Matrix Reloaded.
Yes, it is.
See, this is the stuff that interests me about this show. There is no Flamel stuff in the book where we have story. So not only are you going to get into the stuff that the movies haven't had, but they're trying to tackle things and make new stuff. Question: who's writing the screenplay here? Is JK have anything to do with writing anything?
I don't believe she
does.
Good. I remember the actual showrunner is the one behind it because they're one of the screenwriters from Succession.
Okay, that's good because Fantastic Beasts, as much as I can tolerate it, thank you. No, thank you. If you're gonna make new stuff, make it for somebody who knows how to make television.
So, part of this other news is the fact there are these other leaks that we've seen. You got some the Hogwarts greenhouse here. Apparently, is what's being said, and you can see it makes sense. You can see a little bit of the school like building on the outside. So there's going to be heavy CGI, but also here's a little bit more of part of the castle that's been built at Barry Bush's farm for the Harry Potter television series. So I just thought the details where it seems like a lot of people were saying early on that they were going to be reusing sets and whatnot, and we weren't going to get a newly designed Hogwarts. I don't know. That doesn't seem to be quite the case yet. Which I'm happy with. Granted, would I have been happy if they reused sets? I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it wouldn't have bugged me at all. But I enjoy the fact that they are giving it its own twist. Now, some people have theorized that the stuff we're seeing with the Flamels is either going to be earlier on in the show, or some are viewing it as Dumbledore's potential conversation with Nicholas Flamel and his wife about how they have to destroy the Sorcerer's Stone.
I missed half of that, which is okay. I froze. I thought I was by myself, but I'm back, and I guess you just talked about what you thought those were.
Well, no, what other people have theorized, which is some people are theorizing it is a precursor to the events that will happen. Just like, hey, I don't think he's gone. He can be just. This could potentially be an avenue to bring him back, so on and so forth. Or some people are theorizing that is a conversation that Dumbledore is having with the Flamels about, we need to destroy this now because he got this close, and if it stays available or still here, then
it's the first step into finally actually building out a world that's been around for almost 30 years and hasn't really gotten bigger in any substantial way. I'm low-key mad every time I think about, I'm not gonna say mad because again, I can tolerate those films, but I'm low-key like, Newt Scamander was a great way to build this world, and y'all just didn't.
Hey,
good way.
That can go into the main discussion later.
Sure, still, but I'm not talking about Yates yet. I'm just talking about in general.
But
there's so much you could do with this world. But anyway,
real quick though, this will make you a little happy. Dumbledore got style. Look at that. He's got a scarf on his head.
I do remember that watching the very first movie as a kid and saying, why are they dressed normally? The wizards don't know how to dress in the real world. So that's actually cool to see.
Yeah, and then here's the big stuff that happened over this past week. In Lustley, it has been confirmed that village is being used as Godric's Hollow, and it was getting set dressed for it, and you can just see all this stuff going on. More Nicholas Flamel stuff. Here's the cars getting ready over the last few days. And then they did an overnight shoot with people dressed on Halloween. And it seems as if this is the night that Lord Voldemort kills Lily and James Potter in Godric's Hollow.
I know we're not going to see it because that's not this book. But if Snape steps over James like AI stepping over Ty Lue again, it just continues to confirm that Snape is trash.
He's a piece of shit.
Absolute trash.
But like, you see these costumes and you're like, this screams 80s
90s
Halloween.
Yeah.
Well, because it's 81. If it's the night that they died.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. It is 81. So you're right. Yeah. You've been correcting me on the years all day. Keep it going.
That's only because I did that fresh read of the books. But yeah, I mean, getting stuff like this is interesting, and I'm just very curious. And there's more confirmation. Village Green, here's a pub that's being used, and they're putting a sign out for a bonfire on November 5th, 1981. It's so interesting to me that we may be full on getting the Potters. And that's all we have in regards to here.
What makes me happy, shitty creator aside, is that imagine at the same time we might have a Harry Potter series and a Percy Jackson series, and just the kid in me makes me so fucking happy.
Yeah, middle to high school, early high school Matt would be thriving right now.
Fuck that 36-year-old Rue is ecstatic.
31-year-old Matt is ecstatic. But my point is, like, if I knew that, if you told me my 12 to 14-year-old self that, hey, you're gonna get true adaptations of these two books as television shows with high quality premiere television shows for HBO and Disney Plus. Oh my god, I thought I had muted that.
Sports Center.
But But if you had told my young self that that's what I'd be getting eventually, I'd be like, you're lying. Ain't no way. There's no way that's gonna happen.
And just in case anybody's wondering when y'all actually watch this, yes, I'm gonna bring up Percy Jackson every single time we're here.
That is the other.
You should also be watching this.
Yes, that is the other show / book series we're gonna bond over unabashedly. Like whenever it's to the point that whenever one of us sees news, if the other hasn't said anything about it, we share that news with the other person. Like, so, but yeah, I mean, we saw the stuff of a potential young Lily and James Potter walking around a park at night. We've seen the pictures of Vernon with the strange, as he describes, strange-looking man, the wizard in the purple cloak who's celebrating the death of Voldemort the following day. How do you feel about the fact that we are getting to see this stuff? And we're not just being told about this stuff. We are getting to see it with our own eyes. And just, who would have thought that we'd be getting stuff that was never even covered in the book? I don't think, especially when HBO was telling us, oh yeah, it's going to be a more faithful adaptation. When you're giving us stuff that wasn't in the book, I don't think people were expecting that.
That is another thing that gets me interested in it when I'm hearing, because why are we doing this again? And you're like, well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff covered in the book that we haven't seen, and new kids are going to want to be able to like see the stuff that weren't in the movies, or like they could watch this before the movie, whatever. But like building on the world that you have at your fingertips makes it more interesting. Because I would have never gone back to these books. I would have done a sequel. I would have done the creators shit. I would have done the Marauders or whatever. But it's finding new ways to bring new stuff into this as a start, I guess. Again, you have to build on it. You can't just give us the books, because there's so many people who've read the book so many times. It's like, yeah, sure, but we know all of this. So adding this new stuff that we've never seen before just gives you more reason to actually want to pay attention to it.
Yeah, and I know I didn't show pictures of this last time, but you talk about wizards don't know how to dress in Muggle clothes. Well, we're getting the purple cloaked wizard, bro.
There you go. Beautiful.
And there's some video, or there's some photos. Oops, took me to a different link. There's some pictures.
Do they name him, or is that Daedalus, or do they not say who it actually is?
They never say who it is, but like you can see, like there's Vernon looking all crazy, and like why with a donut in his hand, which like I
will say, the opening of the first Harry Potter is amazing.
Yes.
But adding this to do that. See, again, adding this. Yeah, this is the reason why you do it. This is the reason why you do it if you must do it. Yeah. It's hard to like not shit on WB anymore because they've actually had a good year. So not shitting on them is weird.
Yeah, I mean it is very weird, but I'm not upset because growing up, WB was my favorite studio period, because they, from the mid 2000s to about like the early to mid 2010s, they like didn't miss.
Zaslav. That's it. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot there to mine, and you gotta love that they are taking some risks. Like I would have never expected them in a million years to take some of these risks, I guess is what you can call them, and chances with the story. Especially, it tells me that when they announced this, they listened to people saying, well, what did we need this for? Why are we doing this instead of something else? Because maybe, hopefully, and this is my internal hope, hopefully it does lead to a, like, hey, the show's really taken off after the third season. Now that, and as much as I love the third movie, I can sit here and say and we'll go into this in next month's episode, which I can say is what's the point of this series. or where we debate what's the point of the series. The third movie never fully explains who and what the Marauders are. And because of that, it's never followed up on. Harry never even gets told that his father is Prongs. All he knows, how they explain it is, oh yeah, Pettigrew's Wormtail. And so
somehow Palpatine returned. Sorry, somehow.
But you get my point. Like
somehow Lupin knows what is going on with this map, and the book readers know what it is. Like I've watched reactions of it, and I'm like, oh no, y'all, this is what it is, and they don't catch. And people who know nothing of the books don't catch on. So yeah, it makes sense.
And again, we'll cover that more on next month's episode. That's a lot of the issues I have, especially with 4 on of the book, but. Of the films, excuse me, because they do rely on you knowing, like, hey, yeah, you know the book, right? So, and you could argue that this is what Star Wars has been doing lately with a lot of their Disney Plus shows. Like, I love Mandalorian season 3, right? But that's because I've watched all of the other things like Rebels and Clone Wars and things like that. To have that be a rewarding experience for me as a season, compared to, I understand the complaints from people who watch Mando and were like, I don't know what the hell's going on. What's the point of this? Who's this chick? Why is this important? Why is going back to Mandalore so important? So on and so forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
as a person who hasn't watched Rebels and still likes season 3, but I understand, yes.
Yeah. So I get, but point is, I get where. It's the easiest comparison for me to make in this situation. And I'm so happy that we're getting this stuff broken down for us in such a way, or and shown to a new audience in such a way that it's still going to be fresh. So, no, it's just on the charger, but yeah, this is my son as proof I'm darker than I appear.
You should probably show the comment because people are like, why the fuck are you laughing? What the fuck are you talking about?
For those who were watching after the fact, not where the hell I watch every day.
Yeah, he did.
Every day. But yeah, so all right, that is it for our Harry Potter news stuff. So yeah, we got to get the main topic of today's episode. So Amaru Moses, I will pose the question to you. Was David Yates bad for the franchise?
So, question: bad for the franchise or bad for the franchise overall? Because there's 2 different answers to that based off of what you've been presenting me.
I'm asking overall, like his entire tenure.
Okay, so then simple yes or no with no explanation. My answer is yes. Going deeper into it, at a point. At a certain point, it was like, dude, what are you doing? What I mentioned it before. I watch people react to movies, and I've watched people react to the Harry Potter series who've never seen it. And one thing that comes up consistently, not just with this franchise, but with other franchises, is what really breathes life into a franchise is switching up directors after at least maybe 2 films. If you have the luxury of going that long, and going from, I think Chris Columbus was one of the perfect people to introduce. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to work with kids. He knew how to build everything up. 3 is head and shoulders the best of the franchise, and Agreed. Alfonso doing that, going to Mike Newell with the coming of age stuff. Yep. Going to David Yates with 5 and even 6, like. And shit, actually, you know what? Going from him to the end of the film to finish it out, I did not mind that. It got a little stale. However,
didn't mind it at first.
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said to a point. I didn't mind it because, one, he works in gray. He is a gray dude. He is from London. The whole aesthetic of London being rainy and gray, he took it and put it in Order of the Phoenix and moved it on, because Order of the Phoenix On is a dark series. And so doing that and then going to 6 and saying, hey, this dude finished 6. You need to finish this aesthetic because it's the end of the book. You need to wrap it up with some kind of cohesion. So cool. If they would have changed from 5 to 6, whoever did 6, I think I would have been like, you should probably 6 and 7 kind of go together with the death of Dumbledore into that. I think whoever does 6, 7, because I hate you kids. I said 6, 7 and had fuck. I hate these children so much. Anyway, and then I think about the stupid shit I said when I was a kid. Anyway, we didn't know 7 was getting split. We didn't know the 7th book was getting split.
No, they told us right before filming.
I mean, coming into like when we're at 3 and 4 and 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
By the time Order of the Phoenix came out, we were like 5th book, 4th director. Cool. I wonder who they're going to get for number 6. And I was thinking, okay, whoever they get for 6, they probably should get for 7 to have some cohesion at the end of it because you need to land the plane or whatever, right? But since they had him do 6, I was like, fine, you're gonna ride it out with him. And you know what? He did a good job. I enjoyed those books. There was movies. There was cohesion at the end. But when they said he was doing Fantastic Beasts, and then he just continued to do Fantastic Beasts, not entirely his fault with those films, but by that time, I was like, I'm tired of how gray the Wizarding World is. I'm tired of how dark everything is. And now you stuck yourself with more than half of your franchise looking the same and feeling the same. So retroactively, like I would say 5 and 7, because they have the same feel as the 3 Fantastic Beasts film, kind of go down a little bit for me. Whereas 6, I actually like 6 a lot. A lot of people don't.
We're going to debate that.
I like 6 a lot because it feels like it takes swings. And it feels like a different movie than 5 and 7. 7,
I will give it feels like a different movie than 5 and 7.
It feels like a different movie, and you needed that, and I like the swings it took. So I think that is like untouched. Because 7 is probably my least favorite of all of them. I like all of them, but it's my least favorite because of that hour where they're walking just fucking drags.
Okay, so you're talking about 7 part 1. Got you.
7 part 1. And 8 is the finale. There's nothing. 8 delivers. 8 lands, except that fucking boathouse that has nothing to do with nothing.
The snapping of the Elder Wand does not land, sir. Like
that as well. That as well. Yeah, sure. But I forget about that by the time I get there.
There's a lot in 7 that doesn't land nowadays.
I forget about that. The little things. But I mean, it gets a lot right. But yes, you're right. It does get a lot wrong, but it gets a lot right. And by the end of it, I was like very, very happy. But anyway, retroactively, movies like 5 and 7 that feel the same as the other one, it brings it down, and it's like you just remember the second half. And you're like, I will gladly rewatch 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, do I feel like rewatching it?
That is where I've kind of landed as I get older. So
yeah.
But I think I've told Rue this because we talk Harry Potter. Like I said, we talk geeky shit all the time. As I get older, it becomes harder for me to watch any of those movies after 4. And the main reason being because I guess as an adult, I have more of an appreciation for the Turf's writing, because how she beautifully sets up characters that might not even be appearing until 2 books later, but she'll name drop, just do a quick name drop like 2 books before, and just like a little blurb about who they are, and then bring them in and have them play their role, play their part. And it's like, oh wait, I remember this name from, and this again. I just fucking speed ran the Gambit because I have them all on Audible, so I just listened to all of them back to back to back to back. And it was one of those things where I was like, wow, there is so much nuance that just gets lost. And 5 is I thought is of 1 or 5, 6, and 7 part 1. I feel like 5 is the best of those.
And I'll say this: I still enjoy all of them, and I will rewatch all of them. But I'm getting what you're saying.
Yeah, but 6, you like the swings it takes. My biggest thing is it takes swings in lieu of giving us what's really supposed to be going on. And how he neutered the fuck out of Jenny Weasley, especially in books 5 or films 5 and on, to where she's supposed to be this powerful, outspoken young woman, and she's just standing in the window, awkwardly talking to Harry and feeding him a piece of pie, and it's like
I don't 100% agree with that. I said 100%.
yes.
I see they drop a whole lot of things that show how powerful she is, but overall, she is not put to the forefront as probably the strongest wizard in that group, in that family. She's probably the strongest wizard in that family. Her and Bill, maybe, in the Weasleys.
Yeah, what's it? Bill and Charlie are so very present in the later.
Charlie's not in the movie, so
I know.
Yes,
but
he's kind of not in the books either. But
to be fair, Charlie doesn't come in really until book 4, and then he's still
and not much.
But he's at least still present in a lot of these events.
He is,
and so is Bill. Out of all the Weasley, like the fact that we didn't get Bill until part 1, and it's played by a timid Domhnall Gleeson. I love Domhnall Gleeson, but
the
Bill
choice is to like bring him down. Yeah, I would agree though. I don't think she's totally neutered though.
No, I'm just talking about the Weasleys. I'm not talking about just, but they neutered Bill because he was supposed to be the cool brother and all this. And so was Charlie to an extent, and because Charlie was the one who had the dragon skin boots because he works with the dragon. It's like shit like that. Like I get part of it. I have to blame Steve Kloves, and as much as I love that man, because I think he did a great. The only film he didn't adapt, the only book he did not adapt is the 5th book. That was the only screenplay he had no hand in. But as much as I love Steve Kloves, I got to put some of this on him, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, a director is who's giving these actors and actresses the direction on how he wants them to approach scene, how he wants them to act, and working with them. And it felt to me that there's fundamentally pieces of the story missing, and that's on Kloves. But then it felt like there's a lack of understanding about who these characters are. And I get that he primarily made romances and somewhat more adult films before the Harry Potter series, but we're talking about a man who essentially has not worked since the Fantastic Beasts series. And I wonder why, because everybody started saying he's a one-trick pony. He did Tarzan for Warner Brothers, and it looked just like the Harry Potter movies and the Fantastic Beasts films. And I think that ultimately I liked them doing they gave Columbus the first 2, and then they got in a groove of we're changing directors every year because these kids are growing and their voices change as you grow. And in the most important years, you decided to stick with the one voice, and it didn't all mesh. Also, I just got to say, his artistic choice and letting the director of photography talk him into letting fucking Half-Blood Prince essentially look like a washed out black and white movie almost to a point. It's fucking horrendous.
Again, the grays, all the grays is just, it's a lot. It's a lot.
The others, like, it was at least things were muted, but they were still kind of colorful. Half-Blood Prince is like, nah, I'm just a black and white movie with some slight browns and whoa.
Hey, it's pretty damn dark, but you saw the girl that he was attracted to at the beginning of the film, so like maybe they got some influence. Every time I see that scene, I'm like, Dumbledore, you cock-blocking bastard! Come on, bro! You could have waited.
And the fact that Harry punched down on himself as part of trying to pick her up. He's like, you could tell me more about the Tosser Harry Potter. Again, I just rewatched all of them in preparation for this. But yeah, it's just like there's so much here. It's just like it could be farmed and it's missing. And I feel like that's partly on him. I get that
he's
part
the
of
director.
and it's J.K. Rowling because she's like, I love what he's doing. Let's keep with him because she was still a producer with a lot of say at that point in time.
And the screenwriter.
No, not. I'm talking about
Fantastic Beasts.
I'm talking about strictly for the Harry Potter films right now.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Fantastic Beasts is a whole another different story. Like, but yes, she's like, hey, I like what he does, so we're just bringing him back for this, and it's just like, granted, she learned that she's not a good screenwriter, and she learned that and we all learned shortly after that she's a horrible person. But yeah, I feel like we lost the progression in character by sticking with him. My whole opinion was 5 and 6 each needed to have their own directors, and then you figure out which director had the best overall vision and voice, and you bring them back to for the finale. Because listen, I know a lot of people
would have been great.
I would have killed for Alfonso to do 7 and 8. Like that would have been my dream. Or even if you still like I hated when I was younger. I hated Goblet of Fire, but I have a new appreciation for it as I've gotten older. I wouldn't have mind Newell back. I don't think Columbus has the hand or would have had the hand needed to guide those two films. Like he's a very good young adult storyteller, but at a certain point, those become adult films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So,
I was gonna say something because Percy Jackson, but they're supposed to be kids in that film anyway, so I'm gonna let that be.
Yeah, I mean, but again 7 they've hit adult age. That's adult age in the wizarding world. And that's what I said. And I don't know if some of the decisions they make story wise is because of budget. Which by the looks of this HBO series, it looks like those motherfuckers have an infinite budget. Because if you're doing a period show, did you ever watch Winning Time, the LA Lakers?
Yes, I did. I did watch Winning Time.
So I watched John C. I say this is all going to come back to this, I promise. I watched John C. Reilly talk about that show with Steve-O on Steve-O's podcast. And John C. Reilly dropped the news that Winning Time cost $16 million an episode, all because it was a period piece. Now, granted, when it comes to Harry Potter, it's only going to be a period piece for maybe like 30 to 40 minutes of a season, probably. Let's be honest. Because at a certain point, you go into the castle and all the kids are wearing the same things.
Yeah.
But you saw from the stuff in Godric, all the Twitter stuff we looked at, they are leaning heavily into, yeah, we know this takes place in the 80s, this takes place in the 90s. We're showing you this stuff. And that's not cheap. For those of us who want a Marauder show, which, again, I hope the HBO series does well, because if it does, maybe they'll be like, hey, you wanted that Marauder show. Now that we've explained who the Marauders are, here's a Marauder spinoff. And I wonder what that would do for the characters of, in your case, our case, I should say, because both of us think Severus Snape is a horrible human being no matter what. He essentially he called Lily the wizard equivalent of the N-word because she stuck up for him to James. Like,
there's a lot of good stuff to get out of the Marauders because they are actual human beings with flaws.
Yes, but here's the other thing: his overly artistic taste on the pensieve shit, and I'll dive into this more in next month's episode. But like, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cut all this down to like 2 minutes." No, those memories, especially the Snape ones, the Snape stuff. Those could have been 10 to 20 minute sequences on their own. At least give
Yeah.
me 5.
The only small thing I give is that these books are
Are
thick as hell.
thick. Yes. And that's what I'm saying.
So
And that's what I'm like, I get that. So at least give me just 5. Just 5. Instead of what they did with when because in Order of the Phoenix, he does when he's learning legit Harry's trying to learn to protect his mind from all. At one point, it's he protects himself from Snape trying to invade his mind, and he ends up invading Snape's mind. That's not how it happens in the book. Snape gets called away while they're about to start a session, and Harry sees a pensieve.
Yeah, I've also never, I've never been one to be like, you don't have to do it by the book as long as you have so I'm fine with that. But it was like a 2-second thing where you're not sure what's happening.
But the reason, and yes, it's part of my issue is because you're not sure what's happening. But you've already established the pensieve to the audience in the 4th film, so they would at least know what's going on. But something, and this goes back to the age of it, something that happens character-wise for Harry at that point is the fact that after that experience, he begins to question who his father is as a person.
Yes.
And he has to talk to Remus and Sirius about like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because I had this idea of who you were in my head, but now I'm seeing you guys do this to Snape. And granted, Harry, he has that thing where he's like, I still hate Snape, but I saw what my dad did to him, so he still hated him. He shouldn't be taking it out on me, which is why he's a trash human being. And like the only reason I'm helping you protect that motherfucker is because he's Lily's son. Fuck him and fuck his dad. That's essentially what it says to Dumbledore.
If we keep going, we're going to keep basically getting into the topic next time.
Yeah.
Because now I have another thing I want to say. But yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Say it.
No, I was just saying, I'm not going to say it because we'll wait for next time because it's another thing that really doesn't get into.
Tease it at least.
Neville. If somebody is neutered, which is crazy because he's a highly likable character in this franchise, Neville is also neutered in this franchise.
So funny enough, I have this as a note for that. I have him the first few books. He's essentially like a 4th member of the gang.
So, and it's not even the first few books. It's how much more you know about him later in the. So yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. And I will say, it probably had to be some studio notes, like so it can't all be Yates,
right?
Like you had to cut things and you had to make things not there, but at the same time, the stuff that was put on screen and his decisions, because he has decisions in the editing bay, he has decisions everywhere. Movie to movie, I think he did a great job. Movie to movie, because I really love every single one of these movies. But as a decision, as a whole, to keep him within this franchise for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, LeBron James ass.
7. I didn't even get in the Fantastic Beasts of it all. My God.
7 movies. No, that was not a good idea. Not a thing you should have done. Fucking James Bond never did that. The most they did, I think, was 5.
Yeah, 3 or 5.
With some of the more movies having the same director, but not something like that. So yeah, it just they painted themselves into a corner that ended up being a net negative for me.
Yeah, no, I watched poetic about the actual book, so the book adaptation so long from Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, let's dive more into Fantastic Beasts, because as you said, Newt would have been the perfect way to expand this world, and they did in a tiny bit in the second, in the first, and they're actually in all 3 films. But their way of expanding the world was, we're going to take you to different countries throughout the Wizarding World, and you're going to see how they view their magical rules. But I'll be honest, only the first film was actually really successful of that.
Yeah,
because
by the third one, they had to scramble to say we're just going to try to wrap up something because we might not get the next two, and they didn't.
Yeah, but I not even that. I'm just talking about like the first ones just took you deeper into the American politics side of and how American what magic rules Americans have compared to the Brits and things like that. And that's something I felt like those should have just. I get that they were telling an overarching story, but those should have been a gradual buildup into darkness, like the Harry Potter films were. And instead, you had the first film, and then second film was like, "We're going where we did for the last three movies," and it's like, no, this is not earned at all.
And a lot of it was stale. A lot of it felt stale, and a lot of it comes down to David Yates' aesthetic and David Yates' decisions in terms of how he shoots, and it just you get tired.
Like, so bro, we wasted Jude Law as a young Dumbledore. He was perfect, mind you. He was perfect. The movies he was in were just not good.
Just a whole bunch of stuff, and like the decision to make this a Fantastic Beasts franchise and not a Secrets of Dumbledore franchise. Because it should have just been called the Secrets of Dumbledore, and then having different subtitles for Secrets of Dumbledore. People might have actually liked these movies better if they were called The Secrets of Dumbledore, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Secrets of Dumbledore, The Crimes of Grindelwald, The Secrets of Dumbledore, something else. Same movies, but the expectations are that where's the beasts? There's no beasts here. What's the beast for? Anyway, yeah, but like all those decisions, and just every time I think about the first Fantastic Beasts, I think about how you have a neurodivergent lead character, but again, he's muted, and then
also helped other people discover their own neurodivergency because.
And the antagonists are some of the most like, ooh, this is the second Salemers make me just feel bad, and then you put the gray and the rain and the darkness on top of all of that, and having somebody like Yates continue the gray and the dark and the fog and the rain, it's just not I just don't think the decision there to go with that aesthetic for this kind of film, that kind of series, this franchise in general, which is very bright even in its darkness, just not a good decision.
Yeah. So overall, you see where we stand. Rue is to a certain point. I'm in. Listen, to a certain point, yes, but overall, that motherfucker nearly railroaded this shit. Sorry, I know that's harsh, but I can also, like I said, I know part of it's studio, I know part of it's Steve Knowles, but when you're the director, you have a job to fight for a vision and fight for your story, and you could say, hey, this shit is necessary. So that's just my view. But with that, folks, we're going to wrap this on up. This was a fun discussion. I can't wait for next month's episode because we both love Nick Tuig over here. Nick's a good guy. He might not like where we're going to go with the discussion, but he's a good guy. And it should be fun. But if you haven't already, check out our sister channel, Watt Gaming. That's Watt Gaming on YouTube. And that means to also check out our Twitch, which is just twitch.tv/WattRealent, like it's spelled up there on the logo. And that's where a lot of our Twitch streams go to live after the fact, or our live Twitch streams are played, of course. And you can go check that stuff out there. So yeah, it's going to be a fun time next month. We'll probably get a review from me on Cursed Child. As I said, I'm going there. I figured out my outfit. I'm doing like a Disney bound type thing because I got plenty of these like gray shirts, right? So I'm wearing one of these as an undershirt. I went to Meyer, and Meyer had like these white button-up shirts, right? But it's more of an athletic material. So I'm wearing one of those that's breathable and comfy. I'm throwing on my Gryffindor tie, and I'm wearing some like nice khaki joggers with my Panda J's, and then I have what Hot Topic did a few years ago, where it's a sweater, but it's designed like a Hogwarts robe. So I'm wear that. So it's not like I'm going in it's full costume, but at least I'm dressed nice, but also dressed for the occasion of what I'm going to see. So
that all sounded great. You just have the wrong house.
I support my house. I am not a Hufflepuff. Oh, I should say so. This is a nice little note I just want to talk about. Rue knows. Rue's team, fuck them kids. I'm team. I have younger cousins who I support and do shit with.
That makes me sound like I legitimately don't like children, bro. Come on.
You don't. The way you talk, you don't. Outside of your job.
I'm a teacher. I get to have that privilege.
Yes, but so every year, Rue knows I cover Fan Expo Cleveland out here in Cleveland, and every year there's one day a year I take my godson. Well, now his two other little cousins have finally matured enough to the point where I can take them, and he asked if I could bring them along this time. And kids tickets are like $10, so like, yeah, I'll bring them along, no biggie. I go free. Well, every year they want to do. Every year Z wants to do a cosplay. So this year, since the other two are going, they want to do a family cosplay. They're doing Hogwarts students. So they each took the test, and they each got the robes and whatnot to correspond with their house. And my one cousin, the other boy, Angelo, he'd been safe for years. He's like, "Oh, I'm a Gryffindor." No, I'm a Gryffindor. I know I'm a Gryffindor. And all of us are like, "We know your personality. That ain't a Gryffindor personality." We're like, "You're a Slytherin." He's like, "No, I'm not." We're like, "All right, takes the test. Slytherin." He's like, "Oh." It's like, "Yeah. Oh. He's like, "Well, I guess I am a Slytherin." Okay. I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." And then my brother is going to use his wedding outfit that because before my engagement was broken off, he was going to be the usher at the wedding, and my ex wanted him to dress up as Hagrid, so she bought him the Hagrid costume and the pink umbrella that Noble Collection makes. So Zay, my godson, he asked, he's like, "Can cousin Cameron wear the Hagrid costume and we get a family picture together?" Because he knows I have Hogwarts robes. I'm like, I'll talk to cousin Cameron, and Cameron's like, "As long as I could take that shit off after the family picture, I'm good." So we got that fun little thing planned, but it's going to be a nice fun time. It's nice doing that stuff with family and kids, because we love kids over here on this channel, even Amaru Moses. But with that, folks, signing off. I am Matt. That is Rue. This was another episode of the Daily Prophetcast. We will see you next month. Have a good